Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Monday, and this is our last Monday stream of the season. It's me, it's Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I've had a good game week. I'm on 79 points.
What?
Yeah,
What?
it's going well. Yeah, Gvardiol came up big time with the 21. He also on Ranks FC, mate. We have this thing. We have a betting like prediction game basically. It's called Pick 11. You get 11 coins each week. You get a big bet with 10 coins, and you get another bet with 1 coin. And usually, you have like a punt with your 1 coin, and you go for something semi-sensible with the 10. I've been terrible at this game, right, all season. Absolutely terrible. So it's me, Jack Collins, and then all the listeners of Ranks FC, like the patrons. They
I saw something on someone's Instagram. Maybe your Instagram of this.
Okay. And then we designate someone to be them. I have been terrible. I had not got a bet right since Christmas Eve.
Oh
right?
my god,
it was terrible, and I was 200 odd points behind. So at the weekend, ahead of the weekend on Friday's show, I went, well, I've got to go big. I'll go with my 10 coins. Gvardiol first goal against Fulham, 28-1.
oh my god.
I'm now top of the league. It's all turned around. It's the biggest win of the season.
You put all 10 on Guardi, and you can split them, right? You don't have to put all 10 on one thing.
It has to be a 10 coin bet and a 1 coin bet. Yeah, so the 10 bet usually goes.
A defender first goal is right.
Yeah, you might do Haaland first goal and Man City win or something, like something that's semi obvious.
Where'd you get the odds from? Like a bookie, just a bookie's odds?
Yeah, Jack has a site that he uses to make it try and be as fair as possible. But yeah, so Gvardiol's trumps me on ranks and in FPL, and I'm so happy with him. Obviously he scored a goal against Fulham. It's the first goal I've celebrated against Fulham since I was a kid. I was a kid one day, and Fulham were losing, and used to be able to move around the stadium. I remember one day when I was about 8 years old, Fulham were rubbish and about 3-0 down. So I went into the away end and stood with them and cheered the next goal that went in against Fulham. But this is the first time since then, and it doesn't matter. Gvardiol's my new hero, mate. So yeah, I'm having a good game week because of him. And I said about the mini league. Yeah, I've really closed in. I'm into third spot. I'm 20 points off the guy in second, and I'm 45 off the guy who's top.
You've never been so engaged. Here we are in game week 37, and look at you.
Since the wild card, since my wild card, I've been flying. The last 3-4 weeks, I'm up the ranks. I'm into the 400,000s now, so who knows where this ends, mate? Maybe I'll win it.
It goes to show, though, like your chip, you used your wild card earlier than most, and you didn't have 15 players playing twice in the double, but you didn't necessarily need it. Here you are on a big green arrow. Good to see so many in the chat. Let us know if you're on a green or a red. We've got a poll out. It looks like YouTube's had a little facelift on the poll. Geddy, Will, CH with us, Psychopath, Mark, FPL Freddie, Lewis. Good to see you all. CH says, oh no, Dean's going to beat me. That'll be.
I think I might.
I guess there's big headlines from the weekend just gone, isn't there? Man City's a big one. We're going to talk about. Well, we've got to talk about Arsenal. We've got to talk about Spurs because we've got to talk about Palace, I think, because I think Palace for a final game week punt could be on the cards. Like, they're scoring so many goals. They're averaging 3 goals a game in their last 6.
Yeah.
Chelsea again scoring goals. So loads to discuss ahead of a watch list for 38.
Yeah, Emo's coming up trumps, isn't it? Eze, Mateta, Elise. It's a lovely combo that Palace have got up there. They're doing really well. I just want to say, Cam was the first one in the chat today. He says, I'm looking forward to watching my first CGA stream back after a mental health break from FPL for a month. Just wanted to thank you both for your content. 2 great lads. Me and Daisy have enjoyed being a chasers. Cam, you've been missed, mate. Thank you for coming back, and thanks for the nice words as well. Thanks to all of you for turning up every week, in fact. CH wants a poll as to whether we should do 1 extra show next Monday, just for the bands to review everything.
CH, your wish is our command. Let's poll it.
We can poll that. Let's see.
Can't say we're going to guarantee you based on the outcome of that, but
no, it's not really our say as the producers, really. But we're open to it. I won't be doing anything next Monday. I'll be transfer mode. But yeah, I'm sure we can poll that just to see what the interest is in us doing a show post season.
Dean, I'll be back in 1 sec. FPL Gooner's in the chat. And FPL Gooner, I said when he's next in the chat, I'll be wearing my Inter Miami shirt. It's just behind me, so I'm going to go get it.
Okay, mate, you go and get changed. Keep it PG. Let's Leave it with the dog. Yeah, that's great. Paul, thanks for that comment, mate. FPL Goon, I hope you're happy with the impact that you're having on this show. Reno says, hello, lads. This is my first FPL season. Started at game week 8. My overall rank is 3.8 million. Is that any good? Well, it's not very good, no, but it's not bad considering you only joined in game week 8. So that's very hard to balance out. And if you missed the first 7 weeks of the season, then yeah, that's not bad at all. If you consider there's about 11 million players of the game, you're in the top quarter of it, top third, sorry. So yeah, you're doing okay, mate, for your first season. Keep turning up here next season. Follow the advice of Gianni when he's on that screen, and you'll be all good. FPL Chai's joined the chat. Hello, mate. Hope you're okay. He said he was sticking an Inter Miami shirt on, and he's not. He's come back in an Italy shirt, so he must be confused at the moment.
It's in the wash, man. It's in the wash. It's not behind me. I'm sorry, FPL Gooner. It's too difficult to go get it, and it could even be wet. So I've got the Italy shirt instead.
Oh, yeah, very good. Talking of Italy, I was watching the Attack on Wembley documentary last night on Netflix.
Oh, is it good? I've not seen it yet.
I couldn't watch it. I've got PTSD from that final, and I cannot watch it. On the day, I was obviously at Wembley, and I didn't see any of the trouble. Like,
did you not?
No, I went to the game. I didn't really know anything about it until the next day. Because we stayed, we drunk away from Wembley. We stayed away, and then we got a training like pretty late, really. So we missed all of that.
It was
stuff
early, wasn't it? Because it was an hour or two before kickoff. The social media clips I'll see.
We turned up about half hour before kickoff and walked straight in. Pretty much went in. Thought, God, this is a bit busy. Watched the game. Thought, God, it's chaos in here. Like, it's good fun. I didn't see any apart from like maybe one little fight. Nothing. Got home the next day. Everyone's like, oh my God, are you all right? Like, what was it like? I was like, what? But I was watching it last night. I just started to get into the game. I was like, I'm traumatized by what happened to England that night. I cannot and will not ever see anything beyond half time of normal time of that game ever. And it's absolutely ridiculous and pathetic, but that's how I am as a football fan.
Mate, I didn't go to the final because I knew what would happen. I went to the semi. I saw Italy beat Spain in the semi. It was magical. But I was like, nah, I'm going to get my head kicked in.
Yeah, I mean, watching the doc, you see the segment of England fans that I don't know and I don't want to know. And I was like, oh my God, thank goodness I was in a nice little pub, like a little way away from the stadium. Like, we definitely made the right decisions that day. Mark Nash says, who the hell is voting no on this poll? We've got a poll out now. Are you on a final Monday stream? We've got 96% yes, but there's obviously a couple of people that have just had enough.
Well, I get it. It's probably a case of going, I don't know, FPL is done on Sunday. Why would I want anything to do with FPL again for a month? Maybe it's just that detox that's needed. Maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mate, speaking of Netflix, all right, we won't talk about it now. We're going to get into FPL now. But before the end of the show, Dean, can we speak a little bit about Baby Reindeer? Because since you told me about it on Friday, I blitzed it. I've done all 8.
Yeah.
I've done all 8.
Yes, love it. We'll definitely talk about it, mate.
Yeah, I've got some thoughts. Brilliant. Where shall we start with FPL then? Because game week 38, I mean, we're going to see our teams so far from 37. But before we do that, I want to just give a nod to a few assets that we've seen in action in 37, but we think in 38 we should definitely have our eyes on, or shouldn't have. And the big question for me is Heung-min Son. Like, what do we do with Son? Because Son's got Sheffield United away, but we've just seen him at Burnley at home and he did nothing. Spurs relying on 2 defender goals. What we see against Sheffield United could be a 5-0 Spurs win, but would you be surprised if that's a 1-1 draw? I wouldn't be. No. And if you sell Son, you might be able to get to a certain Mohamed Salah. And even if you can't, you can get to an Arsenal mid like a Kai Havertz or a Saka. Yeah. So where should our priorities be there, Dean? What do you make of that Spurs attack and how it's functioning?
Yeah, I mean, it is obviously a bit of a jump still to get from Son to Salah, like 3.5 million or something. So it's still not easy to have had that much left over in the bank. But even if you make 2 transfers and you can get to Salah for that final game week, it might be worth it if both your players are going to be playing. Salah obviously is a much better punt. Son's just like, I mean, that Tottenham attack is just lacking something. They need a focal point to that team. And I just want them to have like an actual. I mean, look,
Harry Kane.
Ange doesn't at Celtic didn't play with like a target man or anything like that. He hasn't it's not like he needs it to function, but you do, of course, you miss Harry Kane. Like there was one stage of the season where a few people were like, "Oh, Spurs are playing better without Harry Kane." It's like, come on, they're not going to be a better team without Harry Kane. It's not possible.
It's like when Haaland comes out the City team, people just use that narrative if they've gone and won 5-0 without Haaland. It's like, no, they're still great with Haaland. Like,
yeah, exactly that. So FPL Freddy says sell Bruno instead. Well, that's an even bigger climb,
no,
isn't it?
I want to sell both.
Yeah,
there's opportunity for Liverpool and Arsenal mids here. It's like, oh, can I get an Arsenal mid and a Liverpool mid? But yeah, selling Bruno is a given.
Yeah, sell Bruno, you obviously have to do. And yeah, if you can get to say Odegaard and Salah or something, then I think that's a good place to be.
Well, I can get to Salah, and it only gives me 6 million on an Arsenal mid because I don't have much in the bank. But I can get an Arsenal mid for 6 million in the name of Declan Rice for a 1 week. Like Rice on set pieces, playing number 8. They're going to win 5-0 on the final day against Everton, or is it Wolves? I can't Everton. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's going to be. I think Salah.
Rice is a nice pick. Actually,
maybe Rice in, but I could also go Michael Elise, who's 5.6. He plays Villa, but I want to know if Villa have got anything to play for, because that could be Elise's last game at Selhurst Park. And again, I love the narratives on Game Week 38. The narrative of Klopp's last game, or Elise's last game, or Salah's last game. Like I buy into those final day narratives.
Yeah.
Indeed, the teams with nothing to play for, I buy into their narrative of getting battered as well.
Yeah. There's an interesting question posed today on Ranks FC. One of our Palace listeners wrote in. He said, "I'm probably a bit of a stretch here, but is Michael Elise already better than Wilfried Zaha was for Crystal Palace?" He's 22, Elise. I don't know, mate. Like, Elise's returns this season, he's made 13 Premier League starts. He's got 10 goals, 5 assists. He's missed a lot of games with a hamstring injury, but in between, that's been his end product.
No pens in there either, or maybe 1 pen in there. Like, it's not like Cole Palmer odds numbers where you go, 50% of his goals are pens.
Consider he's 22. Consider what his ceiling is. I was like, do you know what? He's a better player than Wilf Zaha. He's going to be better. Zaha's a Palace legend, so it's very hard to compare. And Zaha had 2 very good spells with Palace. But Elise, mate, is different class. Now, the only thing I think that holds him back from a transfer is this injury record. I think that's Palace's only chance of, is someone going to pay 60 million for a player that's had 2 lengthy layoffs across this one season with a hamstring problem? Maybe, maybe not. Man United, the big runners for him, they've had a lot of transfer flops. To have another one would be an absolute disaster. I'm not saying it would be, but if there was even a small chance that hamstring is fragile, they won't risk it.
Should we poll it? Where will Elise be next season? Let's go with Palace, Man United, and then let's just say overseas, because let's not forget, Elise is French. Like,
PSG isn't the stupidest shout at all.
I don't think it is it?
He's obviously still linked with Chelsea, but I can't see that happening now. I think that ship's probably sailed. But not definitely, not definitely by any stretch of the imagination. Derek says City. Obviously, City did go for him last year, and
he'd still get in the City 11, wouldn't he? He would get. I think you could put him in that City 11.
And when you consider Bernardo Silva's probably on his way out, Man City always look to transition a few players out, and if somebody wants to go, if Bernardo does want to go, they might be open to doing something there, but. Yeah, be interesting. FPL Joe says Elise is the 4th highest points match in FPL this season, only behind Palmer, Haaland, and Salah.
Interesting stat. I like that.
Yeah, it is a good stat. And Palace are in great form. They really are. Like, it's not just the goals that they're putting up. They're actually in a proper winning rhythm at the moment. And Glasner's got them playing with joy. Like, some of the football that they put together is genuinely different class. I'm really enjoying watching them. For a team that, on paper don't seem to have much to play for, it's really benefiting them to just have the end of this season to start carrying out what Glasner sees as their vision for the future. They've got 1 game left, so the best that they can hope to finish is 10th, and that won't even probably end up happening. They'll probably end up 11th or 12th, but that's fine to have this optimism at the end of the season. And to know next season you're going to have, you try to keep hold of it. You would have Gahey, you would have Wharton, you could have Mateta at the top with Eze and Elise either side. Like, if you could keep that.
Yeah, Anderson at centre-back's class. Like, he could play at a higher level.
Absolutely. You've got a European chasing team there, considering
2 good keepers
today, this week. So, yeah, it's interesting. But Elise 100% has to be a consideration for that last game week.
So Elise or Rice for me. I think honestly, I think that's what it might come down to.
What's the difference in price with those two?
Yeah, they're both under 6. I think one's 5.6, one's 5.5. So they're both dirt cheap. Like I was looking at the Palace goals. They've scored 16 goals in the last 6 matches. So they're averaging 2.66 goals per game. They're third ranked in terms of goal scoring teams in the Premier League off the back of the last 6 games.
Wild.
So only Chelsea and City have scored more than Palace. And that, Chelsea are averaging 3 goals a game. Again, if you're not on double Chelsea attack, probably should be. And Man City, the juggernaut at the end of the season every time, they're averaging 4 goals a game. They're making a mockery of like the run-in. It's just like, oh, there's going to be no squeaky bum time here. 4-0.
This is it, isn't it? They're just being ruthless with it. I do feel sorry for Arsenal. Like their form has been unbelievable in this time. It's just that 1 week when they lost to Villa, lost to Bayern Munich, has just killed their season. And it was just such what should be a minor detail. It's not even the whole Villa game. It's the last 10 minutes of a home fixture against Aston Villa.
It was 0-0 for ages, wasn't it?
It was 0-0. I took off Odegaard on 79 minutes and Villa go and score twice in the last 10 minutes. And then obviously the next game they lose in the Champions League. And they've recovered brilliantly. But they've also lost 5 games this season, Arsenal. And
have they?
Yeah, they've lost 5 games.
So they've just not drawn many then. It's just been the defeats. Okay.
That's the difference. Man City have lost 3. Who knows? Look, I said on my Insta today, which I've got to get back into a pattern of doing Instagram. So I've started today. But it would be the most Spursy thing ever.
Before on a Monday morning.
It would be the most Spursy thing ever to win Arsenal the title.
Oh, don't. No, I mean, no. I mean, Paul Merson said he'll get a tattoo of Spurs on his body.
I'm not saying I'm getting a tattoo.
An upset. I was just like, that's how confident you can be.
They can't win a trophy for themselves. So the game that they really don't want to win against Man City, they'll accidentally win it and they'll win Arsenal the title.
But I mean, Spurs can go and cause City problems because Spurs can attack well and score goals. But one thing I just can't see is Spurs conceding 1 or 0 goals, and to beat City they would need to concede 1 or 0 goals. City are going to go and score 3 easy. Man, they just can't defend.
Yeah, I mean,
and there'll be a sky high line. But you're right, it would be. I need to see your Instagram. What did you say?
I just literally said, would it be the most Spursy thing ever to go and win Arsenal the title? But in terms of City assets for that final game of the season, I think we should probably compare actually the big teams like Arsenal and Man City, what the top assets are for those game weeks. I mean, my 3 cities are Gvardiol, De Bruyne and Haaland, so I'll stick with that. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Obviously, you could have Foden. Arsenal, I've got Raya and Gabriel, which actually I'm very happy with because it's Everton at home. And I don't know where that extra forward position is coming from for Arsenal or who's going to be that. Trossard has been such a good pick if you've been brave enough to get him and stay on him.
It's just a 90-minute thing with Trossard. He's coming off at an hour.
Yeah, and that's obviously in FPL. It's a sticking point for a lot of us.
Havertz, though, man, again picked up an assist. Like I get why people would go Saka, but because his ownership,
I don't think I do.
Lower, I'd go Havertz. Well, it's the penalty appeal as well with Saka. Arsenal do get pens.
They do, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's Everton. But so who would you go for? Who would be your top choice attacker for Arsenal?
Kai. I'd be Kai all day long in a heartbeat. I can only buy Kai if I don't buy Salah. And I think I want Salah more, but I really like the idea of going Havertz too. Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I don't know if I will. I will try to get to Salah, I think, but it's going to be a stretch. I don't know if I'll get there. So if not, I'll have to look for a backup plan. Yeah, exactly.
Salah, if Salah's in the league next year, he's having a big price drop. Like Salah is he 13.8? I think he might be a 13.5. I think
it dropped a bit now. I think it's about 13.4 or 5. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 13.4. Yeah, he's still had another 200-point season. Like very, his consistency with 200-point seasons is amazing. But when you look at the best performing mids, Son's had 204 points, more than him. Foden's had 213. And then kind of class of their own, Saka and Palmer, 226 and 230. But the company Salah usually keeps in terms of total points, bearing in mind he's just scraped 200 this year. Well, since he joined the league, he's always gone more than 200. In his first season, he got 303. So another 30% on what we've seen this year. And this year, he's scored 18 goals, 11 assists. He's had a 2-3-3, a 2-3-1, a 2-6-5, and a 2-3-9. So he's consistently getting 230 points and above. And this year, unless he goes and gets 30 points on the final day of the season, I guess he does play tonight as well. Yeah, it'll be probably his worst ever season in FPL.
Wow, that's incredible. So when you look at other, obviously, like we've got those obvious ones, like Salah's somebody that so many people look to get in if they can. Massive should be winning fixture against Wolves on the last day. Arsenal, everyone's going to back. City, people will back. But then it's like, you've already mentioned Elise, who's definitely a really good pick. Aston Villa at home last day of the season. Yeah. But Chelsea, like Bournemouth at home for Chelsea, especially as they're in a rhythm, they've had something to play for. And I won't pick Nicholas Jackson now after everything I've said about him all season.
Go Mudryk or Madueke for a punt.
Mate, there are options in this here. We talked about Reece James the other day. He's got an assist within minutes. So will he start?
Well, Chelsea got a double game week, remember? So Chelsea do play this midweek, and then they got the 38 fixture. So I'm guessing 38 he does start. Yeah,
38 he'll probably start. So there's Reece, there's Jackson, and Nkunku to start.
Yeah,
or not
in 38.
38, Nkunku start.
He'll get half an hour off the bench in 37. But I don't quite know where Nkunku fits at the moment.
I don't know where he's going to play. Yeah, I don't know where he's going to play. But they could finally, for that last game of the season, actually have their team together pretty much.
Yeah. Well, pre-season, what we saw a lot of was almost like a front two of Nkunku and Jackson, and they combine quite well. Like, can we see a front two? Because I think we watch Jackson and we definitely watch Nkunku going. They both benefit from playing in a two.
Yeah. And then you have Palmer around them.
Yeah. And then you get to sack off a Mudryk or a Madueke who can be flaky anyway.
So this is the other thing. Like for this other spot I'm going to have open, it's going to one midfield, big spot that's going to be open in my team because Son will be going. And if I don't go Salah, I've got to decide, like, is Nkunku a midfielder or forward in the game?
I think he might be a forward, actually.
Oh, no, if he's a forward, it's out of the question. Yeah, but there's all these suddenly new players coming into the game for the last game week that have been irrelevant for most of the 37 weeks are now actually interesting. Lewis says Gallagher, Caicedo, Sterling, Nkunku, Palmer, Jackson as options. And Getz says, I don't think Nkunku starts game week 38.
I do. You've got to give him something before the end of the season. You've got to give, like, he's been, when you've been injured for so long, you spend such a long time in your rehab and training to then do all that just to have a summer off. Makes no sense. They need to give him a start if he's fit enough for his dedication in the gym to get back fit for the end of the season, I think. Otherwise, it's like just you may as well giving up in February, mate.
What's the point of all this?
Not even going to get a start, and you're the big money signing. Cameron reckons Gusto could start in 37, James 38. What I'd say about Chalobah is he's played really well at right back, and with Chalobah, Chelsea can then defend in a 3 and put Cucurella inverted into midfield, and Chalobah sort of moves over, becomes the right centre back. So Chalobah at right back has been working really nicely with Cucurella because Cucurella can then be inverted, and with the ball, it's a back 3. Without the ball, it's a back 4. So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps with Chalobah. Obviously, James is going to get some minutes, but I'm not sure Gusto does get a start. Maybe he does.
Yeah, I think Gusto would be the biggest risk for me. I mean, he's kind of an in-between player, isn't he? He's not good enough to be a first-team starter, but he's always someone you look to get off the bench. And if there's any problems, then he can start. But he's neither here nor there for me, Gusto. So I'd probably be veering away for him for sure. Obviously, it doesn't matter if he starts the next game because we're already in the game week. But James definitely one to consider. What is Reece James's value at the moment? Let's have
he must have had a big drop.
I think he
started the season at 5.5. So yeah, he's probably 5.4. James 5.3, and Nkunku is a 7.2 forward.
Yeah, see that.
Yeah. You're right to speak about Chelsea though, Dean, because we just spoke about the teams that have got, like, you went through Man City and Palace and Arsenal. Alongside Chelsea, they're the four. There are 4 teams from the top 5 best attacks. I think Newcastle are also in the top 5 best attacks. Right. But from those 4 teams, look at the fixtures. Man City, bank a home win. Chelsea, bank a home win. Arsenal, bank a home win. And Palace, probably a bank home win. Like, the 4 best attacks outside of Newcastle from the 5 best attacks have got good home fixtures this week. That's like they're the obvious moves in. Newcastle's an interesting one though, because their away fixture might be a little bit like, oh, hard to predict. Maybe you can. I think I've got Gordon on my bench in my bus team. Like I'll start an Isak, but do you want double Newcastle attack on the road to Brentford? I'm not sure you do.
Yeah, you don't really know what you're getting from Brentford at the moment, do you? But yeah, I've got Gordon and Isak as well, so I probably trust it. I think I don't think Brentford look great at the moment. Obviously, had got out of jail a little bit at the weekend, but yeah, I do actually think I'm going to stick with that Gordon and Isak. Isak, I'm sure will score, and Gordon, anytime I take him out, he gets points. So I've got to be careful there.
Does Callum Wilson start this week though? Do you reckon? Or
yeah,
because it's the one last hurrah for him, isn't it? Potentially, if he's off in the summer.
Yeah, probably, but
I mean, Isak could still start alongside him. It's just
Isak will still start. Like Isak can still play in a wider position. One of the things I heard was that if Arsenal don't think they'll get him. They don't think Newcastle sell. But the reason that Arsenal like Isak so much is because he's not just a centre forward. He could also go out wide, and they like the idea of having that versatility. And I think that Newcastle might even look to that. I said the other day, like I believe that Newcastle were looking at Dom Solanke at the moment, and that kind of makes sense. That if they're looking to replace Callum Wilson, that they do actually sign a proper centre forward.
Did Eddie Howe sign Dom Solanke? Would that have been a Howe sign? I bet it was, because he was failed at Liverpool, didn't he? Liverpool paid big money for Chelsea, and then
probably
I think it was probably Howe's.
Yeah, he probably was.
So
yeah. So there's definitely reason to look out for that one. Yeah, we might be doing some transfer stuff over the summer. I don't know exactly what our schedule is going to be yet beyond the end of this season.
Yeah, there might be some transfers / Euros content.
Yeah, we might be. Yeah, we're weighing it up at the moment about what we're going to do. So give us a shout in the comments, either in the chat or below the video, on what you would like to see over the summer and building towards pre-season. And that'll help us get a gauge of when you want us back on your screens. Cameron says, Dean, your transfer genius. Where's Tony heading? Nowhere at the moment, mate.
He's not going to Arsenal anymore, is he? That's died. That rumour's gone.
Arsenal. He's not going to Arsenal.
I think Chelsea would still take him, because I think Osimhen's out of reach for us, and he's going to be our backup. We'll be taking.
Yeah, there's potential for Chelsea, and I think they're the only ones that would pay anything like what Brentford actually want for him.
Oh, we'll pay it, boy. We'll find a way.
Tottenham would take him at 45 million.
But I don't sell him for 60 a few weeks later.
Brentford won't go to 45 million. But Ivan Toney hasn't been that good recently, has he?
Yeah, but in a fully functioning team, you'd be a different beast, wouldn't he? He's down tools.
I don't know. I think that the weird thing about Ivan Toney is his highest value was when he was suspended. That's when all the hype for him was there. And like, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, and he did well when he came back from the suspension. But it has petered out a little bit. And I don't know that he is necessarily a £60 million forward right now.
It's the English striker tax, though, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously we've got the Euro to come. Don't forget, like a lot of transfers won't happen until after the Euros, so a lot will need to be dependent on what happens there.
I feel like we should do a poll about the Euros, because some have said about Euros chat. So should we just poll, if CGA was to do Euros content, would you watch it? Yes or no?
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of irrelevant of whether there will be a fantasy game of some sort. Obviously, we tried to do the fantasy game during the World Cup, and
it was rubbish.
It was just a
dreadful,
rubbish game.
So but UEFA do a good game, because they do a Champions League game, and they've done Euros games before, and every time the UEFA game is good. Apparently, I've never played it, but I've been told from everyone that plays Champions League or Euros last time, it was brilliant.
Yeah, hopefully it's more like that. The World Cup was just so confusing. You could change so much about it every single week, couldn't you?
They kept changing the rules.
They kept changing the rules. It was a shambles.
It was like there was cheat codes, how you could get
there was
loopholes in the game
to get 7 players from one country or something. Let's just go through this. CH says Euros would be fun. I'm looking forward to later shows again. Mark says, when do you go to the States, Dean? Yeah, so I'll be going like halfway through the tournament, basically. After the group stages of the Euros is when I'll be flying over to America.
Have you booked your flights?
Yep. It's all done.
It's set in stone. It's
set in stone. I'm definitely going.
Are you renting your house out?
My house out, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so renting my house out, and then yes, we'll be establishing ourselves during the back half of that tournament. But obviously, Copa America is happening at the same time. The transfer window's happening at the same time, and then as soon as that finishes, we're into pre-season. Actually, a lot of pre-season games are actually happening in America, so I'll actually be well placed for most of the summer. And
You
as
can
I
make
said,
out that's why you're moving.
yeah, exactly. Oh, here I am at Man United v Arsenal in LA.
Yeah.
Uh,
He never came back.
but yeah, a lot of people do seem up for the Euros content. So transfer chat rather than Euros. Look, it'll be a blend of everything, Mark. If we do the shows, then it'll be a bit of everything, I'm sure. So if there's an appetite for it, then there is a good chance that we do come back a bit early than some other FPL channels will.
Yeah, like that. It looks like loads in the chat are interested. The Chaser team did get dropped. Yeah, that's right. Mark says, "What about Copa America content?" I mean, Dean is well placed to give a little update every show on Copa America content. I'm sure.
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, I'll be keeping close eye on it because it will finally be on my time zone, whereas normally it's on in the middle of the night. Sean says, Dean, as a fan of a London club, how do you feel about Arsenal potentially winning the league? It's a tough one because I don't really care. It's just that it's that weird English thing. You don't like to see people being happy, and
and you don't know any Man City fans, so who cares?
I don't know any Man City fans.
Nor
So
me.
completely unaffected by it. And then Arsenal, I do know a few Arsenal fans, and I also don't. There's some Arsenal fans that I don't necessarily know, but they're like a loose friendship group, or you see them on Instagram and Facebook, and they're like old school friends or whatever. And I don't want to see them win. So it's hard because I honestly think Arsenal deserve to win the league.
I actually want Arsenal to win it, but I feel like this is a pointless conversation because Man City aren't dropping points.
This is it. I mean, it's highly unlikely they can, but yeah, look, if Arsenal win it, I'll honestly be fine with it because they absolutely deserve it. And I might even say, well done to some of my Arsenal friends and family.
We've spoken about the teams we really want to chase this week. It's the team scoring goals. We're not sure if we're hot on Newcastle and Spurs as much, but Palace, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, yeah. Dean, should we see how we've got on the week so far?
Yeah,
and what our expectation is for the next couple of days, because there is Premier League football now, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then again, I think the deadline is Sunday for all 10 games. There's loads of Premier League football now in the next week.
Yeah, and so just to let everyone know, our preview show will probably be Saturday morning, right? Yeah. We won't be here. Well, Are you doing a show Friday, big man?
I think we're doing Thursday or Friday. I can't
Thursday
remember.
or Friday with big man.
There's no Thursday night games, is there? It's Wednesday night. Okay, I think we're doing Friday.
Yeah, I think it's Friday. Well, but our show is definitely on Saturday. So stick that one in your calendar, people. We will be doing that show Saturday. So look out for that. Yeah, if we want to stick the teams up, then we can go through them. 20 minutes left. So we will be getting to your questions as well if you have any after we've run through our teams. Is that mine? Yeah. So decent week, but obviously carried heavily by Gvardiol's 20-odd points. I just knew it was coming. I just knew it. He's in such a good form. He's in such a good streak.
You kept Mateta as well, though. And again, Mateta scores and he gets the bonus.
Yeah. And, the reason I probably won't go for Elise in the last game week and I'll go to another team is because I just feel covered in Mateta. Like if Palace go on a hot one again, then I feel like Mateta will be among the goals. I've got Anderson already as a Palace asset, so I don't really want 3 Palace in there. So that's a reason for me probably veering away from him.
Haaland and De Bruyne, mate. I thought De Bruyne was amazing to only get 1 assist. Mate. You could have had so many.
The thing was
the Kanji cross where De Bruyne starts celebrating and Kanji misses the tap in.
Yeah, but 2 people in my mini league ended up captaining De Bruyne.
Oh, so you actually didn't, right?
I actually didn't want him to. I actually didn't want him to do anything in the end. The guy that I told you who I'm chasing, who had Saka as well. We thought he'd stick with him.
Yeah,
he didn't stick with him.
Good call.
So it was a good call that I took him out as well. But yeah, so that was interesting. This I'll tell you what, this David Raya goalkeeper situation. I wish I'd done that a long time ago. But thank goodness I'm finally getting goalkeeper points to double up with
defense, man.
It's just changed, honestly.
My
It's
biggest
changed
regret this
so
season.
much about the last 5-6 weeks of my season is just having that double up.
Yeah.
It's been great. But yeah, obviously still lots to play out here. But to be 79 points with however many games left to play, yeah, decent place to be.
Oh, Pedro Porro there with the points there down below. Is that did he get 9 points, Porro? Yeah, so he got
he's
a
got
couple of
9
bonus. I think
points.
Van der Ven maybe got all 3 bonus.
Van der Ven turned into Kulusevski with that finish, didn't he? I honestly thought it was Kulusevski that scored it. And I was like,
same hair color.
Van der Ven.
Yeah. It's funny. The Spurs centre backs, Romero finishes well. Van der Ven finishes well. Porro finished well at the weekend. Like, yeah, good options there. Burn to Saliba or Gordon to Havertz is OP talent. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, I mean, I personally think the ceiling of Havertz is bigger than the ceiling of Saliba. Like, what's your best case scenario? Saliba keeps a clean sheet. Yeah, obviously he could score goals and get bonus points, but let's say 7 to 8 points. Let's not say 3 bonus. Let's say 1 or 2. So you could get a 7 realistically with Saliba. Havertz could get a couple of goals realistically, a couple of goal involvements. So it's a 10. I'd go for the higher upside pick.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just replying there to a message from Colm about Fulham's defence. But yeah, that sounds good. CH, how long are you going to be in San Diego for? A year? Well, no. Ongoing, CH. It's a permanent green card. So we'll see. We'll see how well it goes. Maybe 1 year, maybe 10 years. Who knows? There's no time frame on it at the moment.
Is your accent going to change?
I doubt it. I'm 40 years old. I'll surely keep my accent at this point.
Oh, okay, here's a good test for it. Has your wife's accent changed since she's been here?
Well, it's not that the accent changes. It's like the tones of it change. So like the accent, I guess, changes a little bit on some words, but mainly you do it to be understood where you're living. Like that's her main issue. Like she's changed the way that she talks so that she didn't have to repeat herself, or so that she says tomato instead of tomato. She uses those words so that she's understood. But then
pavement instead of sidewalk, vacation, holiday. You might just use some of the terms, but with an English accent.
Exactly. So there's all of that kind of thing. But even the way she speaks, like she goes back home, and I don't notice her voice has changed at all. But they're like, "Oh yeah, you do sound English."
There you go.
But
you're right. With your age,
she's been here 15 years. She came here when she was like 22 or something. So that's a big part of her life. Whereas my children, yes, you're right. Like my children are 4 and 6.
God, yeah.
Like, they got no chance. Like they are. I hope they can hold on to their accents for a bit because I do like it, and I think it's going to be especially cute living over there. But
they'll have this weird hybrid. My wife came to England at 14 with a proper strong South African accent. You can't even hear it now, but because she went to school here, like influenced by people in school, your accents change as kids. But yeah, adults less so.
Adam says no more meeting footballers in the supermarket. Well, what if San Diego SC? So I was speaking to someone the other day. He said, "Oh, San Diego are one of the teams that are interested in taking De Bruyne to MLS."
Stop it!
I was like, mate, if I end up supporting a team that's 20 minutes down the road and they're signing the likes of Irving Lozano and Kevin De Bruyne, I've upgraded from Fulham if that ends up. Like they are better than anybody.
Of course, they want the best Mexican player just over the border in San Diego. That makes sense from Lozano.
Exactly.
Where does Lozano play now? He's not in Napoli anymore, is he? He's left Napoli last year, I think.
I don't know where Lozano is, to be honest.
Don't even know. He had a good World Cup though in Qatar. I
like Chucky, but obviously he hasn't quite lived up to the hype.
So maybe he went back to Holland.
PSV, he's at PSV. Yeah.
Okay, so Dean, early thoughts. Your team. You're looking at if you can get to a Salah, but I mean, Salah needs a ton of money.
Yeah, I just don't think I'll be able to afford it. So I still think I'll probably take Son out. Obviously, I can go to pretty much any Arsenal mid at that point because. Yeah, I've still got $1 million or so in the bank. So, I'll have to weigh it up once we get a bit closer, but almost certain to be like Odegaard or something like that.
Yeah, okay, nice. Let's have a look at my team then. Oh, yeah. I did a bit of housery on the bench there. Like I put 3 good players on the bench, so the bench boost looked better. So the bench boost has Foden and Palmer and Gordon and Edison. That was clearly never. The bench boost should have been Gabriel and Veltman. Veltman, by the way, was inspired. Veltman with a goal, and then went off injured. It was quite a roller coaster in that first half for Brighton. I'm hoping Veltman plays the second game. And going off injured, I'll take the 7 points for the goal. Cucurella's 1's rubbish, so's Burns 2, but you've still got double game weeks for all these players. I just need Bruno to play. Like if I don't get any minutes from Bruno, it could be a bit of a flop of a bench boost. At the moment, my actual bench boost players would be Gabriel, Veltman, and I guess Bruno, and then Vicario. So yeah, if you get to the magical sort of 20 odd, you're probably happy from a bench boost.
What did you make of what Rooney said about United players like avoiding playing?
I mean,
well, it sounded like Bruno was the obvious one that stuck out, but Bruno's not the type of player that shirks. No. So I thought that would be a bit weird if it was at Bruno. Was it Mount? Is it someone like that?
I thought it'd be maybe someone that Rashford had Rooney had a relationship with, like a Rashford. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought maybe Rashford or Mount. I guess would make more sense than Bruno. Martial, Mark said. I mean, I don't even count Martial as a footballer anymore. But yeah, maybe he means Martial. Yeah, very weird, very weird. And what do you fancy your chances that Bruno plays in that game? He wasn't even on the bench, was he, at the weekend?
No, and Ten Hag said, I think before the match, like he planned to be, and then Diallo came in last minute. So it was almost like a sort of last minute request not to play or failed fitness test or whatever. But then I think post-match, but it sort of insinuated that he'll be fine for the Wednesday game. But then post-match, I think there was a comment made where he looked like maybe he's not going to be around. So I'd say it's completely 50-50. I mean, it's a big game for United. That Newcastle match. So when you look at the table, like they've still got everything to play for in terms of like league position and Europe, and with Chelsea keep winning games. Like United need, for Ten Hag, perhaps some might say for Ten Hag to even keep his job, you need a performance in those last 2 games, away to Brighton, home to Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, I still get the feeling he'll be staying either way at this point. But yeah, obviously, if he was to get beaten all the way through to the end of the season, then you have to feel like, oh my God, what are we continuing with here into next season? Like if you get beaten in that home match to Newcastle, last game of the season, and then you end up going to Wembley last game and losing by whatever it's going to end up being to Man City. What do you think? It could be 2-0, but it could be 4 or 5-0. Like you honestly don't know how bad that day could get for Man United.
It could be bad.
But it could be bad. I think if it was bad, then they might have to make a knee-jerk reaction. But that's the one thing that they've said they won't do. And they do feel sympathetic towards Ten Hag and what he's had to deal with. And, they obviously do like Southgate. That obviously is real. Surely they can't be. Surely they're not confident in enough to actually do that, because that's not an answer. That for me is not the answer.
If that happens, oh my God, I'm going to set up my own Man United like anti-fan channel if that happens.
Yeah.
This is shout out to all the United fans in the chat. I love you really. Jody's in. FPL Joe says, yeah, Alex Crook talk sports. Yeah, I did hear this, that there was a quote from Ten Hag which said he's likely to miss a Newcastle game. Target teams like Chelsea, Newcastle, Forest, I'd say it's attackers from teams with something to play for, maybe. Interesting stuff there in the chat, guys. Thank you for all your subscribes as well. Please do hit that button before the end of the season. In terms of what I'm looking at doing with my team, when you look at my front 8, like they're all quite good players that you might want to start. So I'm going to have a benching dilemma in 38. It's very likely to be Gordon on the bench, who goes to Brentford. I've got 2 free transfers. The 2 guys that I think I'm going to be selling are Son and Bruno. Now, I'm okay selling Bruno. I don't want to sell Son for Sheffield United because that could be anything. But I just want to go with the more predictable upside picks. And Mo Salah, let's see how Mo Salah plays tonight. But if Mo Salah looks sharp and Liverpool look sharp, and let's see, I don't know that final day, just the narrative of Klopp feels too strong at Anfield not to go big. And we know their opponents in Wolves have nothing to play for. Again, I wasn't impressed by Wolves at the weekend. Against Palace, they looked second best throughout. The game before that against Man City, I think, was it 4-0 City or 4-1, I think.
5.
Was it 5-1? So yeah, Wolves I think have down tools, and with that Liverpool final day fixture looks lovely. If you can't reach a Mo Salah, Dean, who do we like? Like, is there anyone else at Liverpool? If we knew a Darwin was starting, I mean, we might know a Cody Gakpo is starting. Like, we're going to get team leaks from Liverpool because they are one of the teams who feed us the 11s before the deadline.
Yeah,
I mean, Jota's out, isn't he? I think Jota's out for the season now. So it's Luis Diaz, Gakpo, Diaz, Darwin. It's one of those three that you could punt on. And it's probably going to be Cody, Gakpo, and Diaz starting with Salah.
Yeah, true. I'm just looking at the moment to see who is your most selected. Salah's got 23% selection at this point. Then it's Luis Diaz next up at 10%. Selected at 7.6 million. I think Diaz is the pick for me.
Yeah,
I think
and you'll be able to afford him as well.
Yeah, he's affordable. So if I was to go Liverpool this week, then Diaz is there. If I was to go a little bit different, then I'll go Harvey Elliott.
4.8 million, 0.3% owned.
Like,
wow.
You know, Klopp's been part of his journey. He'll definitely get some sort of run out in that game. He's been playing really well, Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
I think at 4.8 is probably one of the bargain picks of the final game week.
Yeah, you might be right there. You might be right. I don't mind. I mean, I've got 6 million to spend on a midfielder. I can't get any of those Liverpool attackers for 6. I could go Salah and Elliot. I could go Salah and Rice. I could go Salah and Elise. Can you just do a poll for me, guys? Can you help me here? And we'll see where this poll lands. We'll do it again on Saturday. And the difference 6 days can make can be huge because we'll see Harvey Elliott in action or we'll hear press conference quotes about Elise or whatever. But if pick one for game week 38, Elise, Rice, or Elliot, I'm really interested to see where we're voting here. I feel like Elise is the sexy pick, therefore he's going to get 50-60% of the vote, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He probably will, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's right either. That's quite a tough call. Rice is such a different player.
Yeah, we need to stop viewing him as a DM.
The connotations that Rice has are just wrong. Yeah, and I think he'll be unlocked a little bit in that last game, and he'll be looking, especially if they get 2-0 up early on, right?
Yeah, then party mode in a way.
You can start to have fun. Like, even if you know what could happen, right, on the final day, right, is City go into the lead early on. If City are like 1-2-0 up early on, and it's like, okay, we can't win the league. Let's just have fun. And it's better than learning in the last 10 minutes that you can't win the league.
Yeah.
Then you can just go out and play with freedom. And I'll be interested to see how Arsenal cope with that and what FPL points are up for grabs. Ice G says, should I go to the pub with my mates final day of the season or travel to an Arsenal pub?
Ooh.
Depends how far that travelling is.
Depends who you support, Ice G.
I'm presuming it's Arsenal.
But do you want to travel to an Arsenal pub if you're a fan, knowing there's a very good chance to win that football match? I thought maybe you wanted to travel to an Arsenal pub to watch the misery of Arsenal lose the title, because I can only see one outcome.
No, you're doing.
Oh, Mark says, where's the poll? I'm not sure. We are doing a poll. We're going to do Rice, Elise, or Elliot. Pick one.
Yeah. But yeah, if I was an Arsenal fan, I understand that you'd want to be kind of in the vicinity of the Emirates just in case. I do get that. But maybe just depends how far away you are, ISG, because people will flock there outside the Emirates in the hours after. You can still get down there. Then it will just go crazy around.
Wait till half time, see what City are doing. If it looks like it could, City West Ham is 1-0 West Ham.
If City don't beat Spurs, then get down to Islington on the final day. Like, do it, because that'll be the place to be.
Could goal difference play a part here, Dean? Depending on if City Spurs is a draw. No, I don't think goal difference can play a part now, can it? Because is it 1 point between the two if City win?
Well, it's
can they tie on points?
Yeah, because if City draw tomorrow,
and then they both win on the final day,
they'll both be 86. They'll both end the season on 89 points.
Great. So goal difference. So let's imagine it goes down to goal difference. That's when you want Declan Rice in your team. You want to buy Arsenal or Man City players because they've both got to score a shit ton of goals. Oh, I'm not allowed to swear.
It's all right. It's not a bad one. Arsenal currently have 3 goals on City when it comes to goal difference. So that could give them advantage. ISG is 1 hour from London. Look, I would ISG, unless it looks like you're gonna win there, I would wait. And then if Arsenal do end up performing a miracle, get yourself down to Islington, because the party will continue, right? Like that, and they've already announced they're going to do an open top bus on a certain date, haven't they? I didn't see what the date was, but they've already, there's already like an announcement of, if we win the league, our open top bus parade through Islington will be on.
That's a proper jinx. That, I mean, I know jinx isn't a thing, but if it's in your hands, the title, you can provisionally book a date in. I think
they were a bit torn because they have to tell the council.
Oh, okay.
You have to book it, and obviously someone in the council is going to see and leak it. So I think they're kind of like, look, we'll just
Mate, that could be your new leak story. Forget team leaks. You can do like council applications leaks.
Open top bus link.
We are going to move the conversation on to Baby Reindeer. So, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, because a few people haven't watched it.
If you want to say your goodbyes now, because you don't want to talk Baby Reindeer, there might be a smidgen of FPL chat still left, but the main bulk of it is we're going to say goodbye to those that don't want spoilers.
Oh, wait, press mute if you're not. Wait, go away if you don't listen, or press mute. You can just watch G's face.
And I think we will. Yeah, me and Dean will definitely be back on Saturday morning, but me and Big Man might be Thursday or Friday, because I don't think Friday at 1 doesn't work for me, so I don't think we're going to do Friday at 1. But let's see. Thursday at 1 would be good, because the games actually finish on Wednesday night. So so we should probably, and then that gives me a breathing time between the Thursday and Saturday for catch-up views. But ISG binged the whole series on Friday. Wow.
That's so it took you 2 days. I did it in 2 and a bit days. I think I took maybe 3.
I did Saturday, Sunday. I think. Yeah,
it's easy because they're half-hour bites. So it flows, doesn't it? What did you think?
Mate, it was just what a journey. What a crazy journey. What a journey for this kid who, I mean, this was 15 years ago, I think, or 10 years ago. So he's like, fair play, because he always wanted to be famous. Now he's got this on Netflix. And he was clearly not a very good comic. So I believe him wholeheartedly. Have you watched her interview with Piers Morgan?
I haven't watched the whole thing.
I watched the first 5 minutes because I was just like, I've Baby Reindeered out now, but I really want to watch it.
I've seen clips of her, and she goes back and forwards on details that she's giving. I mean, for a lawyer, she's not very smart when it comes to giving truths and facts. I mean, I'd probably say that. I don't know. I mean, he puts himself into such precarious decisions and has made such positions and has made such bad decisions himself throughout the time, that part of me doesn't totally believe all of it, because I feel like he's been looking for the attention and adulation.
Yeah.
And it's a bit odd.
It's odd that he didn't give all the juicy bits of information to the police. The stuff the police wanted, he never gave them.
And he protects this guy that he keeps going back to.
Yeah,
I'm not comfortable with that. Like, that's weird.
I'm really uncomfortable with that storyline. And that storyline, I'm like, well, will there be a criminal
So everyone's tracked her down on social media, but I mean, there's something.
For me, he's the bigger story, because I'm like, what he's done from that.
What he's done is like horrendous.
Yeah,
actually horrendous. Havertz, Saka, Elise, Eze, ranking for last game.
Thanks, Kay. Keep us on track. As our viewers just plummet for the last couple of minutes.
They haven't. They've all stayed.
Havertz, Saka, Elise, Eze. Oh, that is a tough ranking. Dean, you love a ranking. I'm going to rank Havertz number 1. And probably Elise 2, Saka 3, Eze 4.
Yeah, I think I'll be in the same spot, mate.
Would you? It's hard, because I do. I want to know more about Villa for the last day. Like, I love the narrative of Selhurst Park, Elise's last game, or just Selhurst Park and scoring goals at the moment.
Yeah.
But have Villa got something to play for or not in that last game? Do they need to go to Villa and get a draw?
Yeah.
We don't know that. We'll know that by Thursday.
True. In the poll, Elise 72%, Rice 22%, Elliot 5%.
If we knew Elliot was starting,
if you knew Elliot was starting, if there's real signs in like predicted lineups that Elliot's starting that game, 4.8, that is one of the picks of the game week. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he is fire at the moment.
They will. Yeah, he will score on the final day if he starts that game.
What's his best position, Dean? Because because in the final game week of the season, 38, if he does get into the team, we know Salah will be on the right wing, so he'll be in the midfield 3 instead of it'll be him or Sabozai, right? But is that his preferred role? Does he like playing wide right in the Salah
He likes
role?
playing wide, yeah. I mean, he always played wide when I saw him play for Fulham. Well, I'd say he always played wide. He didn't actually play in the role he had like a free role in behind, but then Carvalho's done the same thing. Carvalho like had a role that didn't really exist at Liverpool, and like
the Cole Palmer role as well, though, isn't it? It's that sort of listed on the team sheet out wide, but inverts and
it's all quite 10. Loose, really. Yeah, I mean, you think teams are so flexible now; they're not really like as structured as you imagine them to be. But Harvey Elliott could play like literally 3-4 different positions and excel in all of them. He's hitting levels I wasn't sure he would actually be able to maintain. To be fair, he's doing very, very well.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Guys, we will be back on Thursday with Big Man Backer, possibly Friday. We're still working that one out. But me and Dean will be back Saturday morning. Not sure the time, but it will likely be fairly early in the day. Guys, thank you for watching. On the way out, if you fancy hitting those buttons, that'd be amazing. And good luck for the rest of game week 37. There's still a ton of points to come. For now, he's been Dean up in Gianni, and we've been chasing green arrows. See you later.